Just a quick video just to fix a sticking plunger which prevents the power hose from turning on a karcher 520M. So key thing in here is to remove the 4 screws with a T25 torque driver, and then remove this cover, which gives you access to where the valve is actually located. So you know you can pull this out of the way, and I believe it is a T30 to take these out as well. And this one as well. Take this little spring clip out, just move the microswitch out of the way, and then this should all lift out of the way. So this is the area here. This little plunger doesn't move up and down correctly to allow the power to turn the motor on. So what we need to do is actually just take these off. I believe it is a T27. So you just lift that little cover off, and what you need is a jeweler screwdriver just to prise this wee bit out. And then what you have, got to be careful here because there's a wee seal on it as well. So you'll see there's a seal in the inside there and a seal around the outside, and it's just key that these two bits do not get damaged when you remove that. Next thing, this needs to actually, you see there's a seal on top there, that's actually located into that. Into the base of that as well. But we need to actually remove this, and the way to do that is to get a pair of pointy nose pliers and just get onto the bottom of the hex and just give it a loosen. Okay. I'm going to pause the video here because I'm going to get I believe an M4 screw to pull this valve out. So what I've done here is I've literally got an M5 screw and threaded her in. What I can do now is I can actually pull that valve, or move that valve up and down. Okay, that is the valve removed, and what you find is there's a lot of kind of debris or black from the rubber where the O-ring has started to degrade within this area. You can see on my hands there. So ideally these surfaces need to be completely clean. You can see that if I can get a better view of that. You know, this valve, this pressure washer is from 1998, I believe. so the O-rings are bound to degrade over that length of time. But ideally, what you'd really do is actually replace this part, or you can just continue to grease up, clean up, and use silicone grease within this chamber, and then make sure that this is actually free moving up and down. So I'm going to clean this out and just put it a wee bit more grease, silicone grease around it, and make sure it's moving up and down correctly. So I've just done a wee measurement with the vernier, and that O-ring looks like a BS12 O-ring on the bottom there. I think I'll remove that wee hair there before I put it back in. Yeah. So I'm going to grease this up and just make sure that I'll move it up and down with the pliers and make sure it's free moving, so that it's actually operational again. So your ideal scenario is that this should move up and down completely freely without issue. Now obviously there's a bit of resistance, but as long as it bottoms out, that's the main thing. So let's see if we can take that out again. So you can see there that I have put silicone grease around the edge of that and made sure it's free moving. So everything is actually free moving now. Now it's just actually a case of putting everything back together. So we screw this in again. We just need to nip it up. You know, it's not something that needs to be swung on. So you make sure you get the nut at the bottom. That can actually go in here. Let's see if we can get this all back together. Maybe just put that back on there, down the bottom, and slide this back on, push that in, put the retaining cap on, 2 screws, and the same on that side. T30. Try and keep it central. And then we want to set this back in here, like that. You'll see that the little plunger comes through there. These 2 screws go in next. Do not drop the screws into here. You'll never get them back. And then we tighten that up. And the same on that side. So this part here of the microswitch locates into this hole here. Make sure that's pressed up the way, like that. So if you can hold that there, and then this here actually just locates back into there and pushes the whole thing together. Next thing is to place this back in, and ensure that the wires are either side. And then basically when you put the top on, you may find a wee bit of resistance. Sorry, you may find a wee bit of resistance. Let's just do that again. So you can see that she's not sitting completely flat. And the way to actually get that to correct itself is just to flick the switch, and you'll see that it's actually all closed up now. Ooh. Now I had this cable out for another reason, so and that's to do with changing the oil in the thing, because it's the original oil in it, and I had to replace a couple of springs also in it, which were all broken and snapped in half. So the symptoms behind that is, if it's really knocking and noisy, it's more likely that the springs have broken in the pump area, so that make it sound like it's off balance, or real knocking noise as the motor is rotating around. That's those springs that have actually gone, so they're actually located in this area, and that is where the oil is also. So I thought I would kill two birds with one stone and replace the springs as well as changing the oil. And to be honest, it's actually a fairly simple job. All of this comes apart really easily. So next thing is to put the cover back on. So I'm trying to do this one-handed. Just to locate the bottom in first, and then these screws feed through and screw into square nuts in the bottom. Now I'm going to pause the video while I do this because square nuts always fall out. And then I'm ready to test. So always just make sure that this tube is also in the correct position as well. And that's her ready to go. So before she wouldn't turn on, and now running smooth, back to normal.